Welcome to the Weber Cup, the transatlantic 10-pin tussle between the USA and Europe. It's day 3 of the competition here in Las Vegas, and the Americans are looking strong. Leading 11-7 in the race to 18, they know another good session could see them move to within touching distance of lifting the famous trophy for the first time on home soil. Here's a reminder of what's happened so far on day 3.
Different day, same story. Team USA rolling over Team Europe. Bowling gets a lot easier when you always have a friend helping out with the 10-pin. That's why Stuart Williams is a champion. I mean, this is what champions do.
A hugely important win for Stuart Williams, and Team Europe may have stemmed the US tide, but with the defending champions holding a commanding 11-7 lead, Europe know how vital the next set of matches will be. Coming up later, Chris Barnes and Stuart Williams both return to the lane. But up first, Jacob Butturff faces Sweden's Jesper Svensson, who's still looking for his first singles point at this year's event. It's 1 point for the win, with 18 the number needed to lift the trophy. And your commentators for this one are Jessie May, the European captain, Dominic Barrett and Guy Kaminski.
Dom, I know I spoke to you before the show started, and you were thinking about playing this match. You must be a little bit relieved you've gone with Jesper to give yourself time away after your first game.
Yeah, I wasn't thinking about playing this match for too long after we looked at I was going to be bowling Chris, because the way it worked from last night is whoever played the singles yesterday means that the other 2 guys played the first 2 singles, so it was always going to be, you know, Chris and Simonson on their side and Stu and myself on ours, so that wasn't really going to leave the lane on the right hand side that pretty. Yeah,
no, I mean, a great call. You can do all the thinking and all the tactical preparation, but at the end of the day, Dom, you've got to have your man out there deliver you a point.
Perfect start from Jacob Butturff, and now Jesper with the response.
Yeah, that's right. I think, you know, for all 4 of us need to step up on this lane now. I think it's last year kind of went something similar to this. We felt like we haven't actually won a session since Simonson has started bowling this Weber Cup, and I think it's about time that changed.
Dom Barrett, do you think that this matchup, lefty-lefty, late in the oil pattern, is going to suit Jesper Svensson? Were you happy to see him taking on Butturff?
Yeah, we sat down before and we were kind of thinking about that and thinking about what Chris is going to do a little. It's not really captain style that I would go with, but we didn't really want to have Jesper face Simonson again. So it kind of made sense for Jesper to play this burn pattern, or the third game on this oil, and I think it made sense for Chris to do the same.
So day 1, Jesper looked like he had a little bit of trouble. He was finding a little bit of form yesterday. What's his mindset at right now? I know he struggled with an injury with his hand. How's he feeling?
I think his injury is absolutely perfect. I think he's like one of the younger guys who, once they get going and they start striking, there's no stopping them.
Guy, you heard that Chris Barnes was saying that he hadn't been planning on playing Jacob today, but liked the way the ball was looking on the pattern. You think we're going to see a lot from Jacob here?
Yeah, the players get an opportunity to practice on the lane on the pattern that Dom's picked for the session, and then the captain gets a feel of who's going to play.
This USA team on paper before the Weber Cup started, you know, what stood out to you about this USA team versus the other teams you've faced? You've had so many, seen so many of them come along.
I think that's what's probably the biggest thing for us is the amount of depth that they have in the American camp all the way through the PBA Tour, really. Us Europeans don't really have that, but what we do have is that sort of closeness between us traveling together and everything else, and coming from the European Tour, living in Europe, and how we made our way into the PBA Tour. So we have that going for us a lot. And
historically, I mean, the doubles matches have been real strengths of Team Europe precisely because of that, right? You guys know each other, you communicate.
I think that's what's so good about the American team now is like the youthfulness that they have, leading from Chris Barnes as that senior guy who can really show them the ropes. And then, as you can see, there's no fear in any of the young guys in any sport nowadays. And they just go out and strike, and Chris sort of points them in the right direction, and off they go.
Butturff trying to match Jesper's strike, and that did not work out.
I've been waiting for the commentator's curse. I've been watching it in so many sports thinking, when am I going to be able to curse somebody? And I just did it perfect.
I mean, Dom, I see you guys are really, we pulled Tim, and Tim got Chris up here in the comedy box, so that seemed to work, and now we've got you putting the curse on USA. But I suppose when you're 4 points down, you got to take whatever you can get.
Got to do anything I can.
I mean, Stu said, I know you guys wanted to just kind of forget all about yesterday after yesterday, and he said you decided the best way to forget about yesterday was to go out and find some people who were more miserable than you. So you went over to where the women were playing the Women's Open, and he said, you know, you get to see a lot of frustration there as well. And it looks like you guys came in with a real fresh attitude this morning, which says a lot.
Yeah, we did. We went out last night watching bowling, saw some of our tour friends, like the ball reps that we have on our tour. We're actually on the ladies' tour right now, and obviously Vegas being such a place where we have so many different spectacles of sport, including bowling. The US Open of the ladies is happening right now, so we went out and hung out there last night and sort of
Jesper is quietly putting together, and I'll tell you what, he's showing no emotion, but he's quietly putting together a pretty super round here, Dom.
Yeah, that's what Jesper's about. Once he gets comfortable and he starts striking, and I know that he wants to take down Jacob. Jacob's been a little bit better than Jesper the last year or two, and Jesper's got a point to prove.
We said about Simonson is that it's not about age now. In bowling youth, these guys are experienced. But also what we've seen with the American team, Dom, is that they haven't let you get away. You haven't had one easy victory. Every game, I feel like you've had to work so hard for it. Is that starting to play on your mind? Even in this stage, Svensson looking quite comfortable, but are you thinking in the back of your mind that, you know, that they're not going to give up, that somehow it's always going to come down to the 10th frame?
Kind of that's the way our team's built, I think, because like Stu and I have similar rev rates. We're not two-handed bowlers. We don't have all the power, so we are going to get 9 sometimes. So we're not really going to run away with games. That's kind of how we feel. So our games that we win are going to be tight, but we needed to do a better job yesterday, a much better job of taking care of those 10th frames. And I think we let a couple get away from us, and that was really the difference in the score yesterday.
Sure was. You lost one roll off, and then obviously that's good having ball in hand.
I mean, look at the crowd. I mean, these guys have come over the pond here to support you. So, I mean, how important it is to have these guys in the crowd cheering you on, especially when you're behind?
It's absolutely huge. You know, full credit in the world to Matchroom here, because it's not easy getting people to come to Vegas, getting the stands to be full. And as you can see, we have such a great crowd on both sides. And I have to say huge thanks to everybody who's made it over from Europe to come and support us, and everybody here in the States has come out as well. And we want to put on a good show for everyone, and we really do appreciate that extra sort of helping hand, sort of cheering that we really can feel on that stage. So thank you very much.
Welcome back to Las Vegas and Weber Cup 20, where the US lead Europe 11-7 in the race to 18, but find themselves 21 pins behind in this singles match between Jacob Butturff and Team Europe's Jesper Svensson. Commentary from Guy Kaminski, Dominic Barrett and Jesse May.
You know, traditionally bowling, obviously, there's a lot of quiet. This crowd has gotten a little bit raucous. I mean, it's fun for the spectators. Is it really hard to bowl that way?
Well, bowling's very intimate. When we bowl on tour, we're very accessible, so we actually know a lot of people in the crowd personally. We've got Mark Anderson sitting in the crowd, who's actually here working in Vegas at South Point for the Nationals that they have the last 4 months. It goes on for 4 months, and he really steps it up with us too and gives all of us some abuse, which we actually quite enjoy.
Is this an unmakeable spare? It looks pretty split out.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think, yeah, this is pretty unmakeable. But we've seen the pins bounce quite a lot here. And he's already made one off the sweep, which I know, Dom, you guys, well, Stu was particularly unhappy about being awarded. But nevertheless,
So just there you can see the curtains down on the right-hand side, because there's a camera there. Now, normally in a bowling center environment, that wouldn't happen. But that has provided a little bit of bounce on the 10-pin side, which we've been trying to exploit.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of pins coming out of the pit. Not always hitting the pin on the deck, but still bouncing out nonetheless. But, I mean, firmly in control of this game now. Now, Dom, I mean, you played Chris the other day, and you were down and out at halfway mark, and you pulled it out the fire. I mean, surely now you must be odds-on favorite to win this game.
Jesper looks great right now. I hope that's not the commentator's curse.
Get help.
Oops.
Nice try, Jesse.
I really hope it wasn't.
Is it harder to defend a lead coming down the home straight, or you prefer both, you know, it being close?
Definitely don't want it to be close when you're in the lead. You want it to be, you know, done and dusted. But this scoring format doesn't really allow that to happen, because you kind of just count strikes. The opens don't matter as much because you're going to get a count, and the count is going to keep you close. As long as you keep your strikes, you know, close.
So I mean, at first glance, it feels like this scoring format doesn't penalize the open frames as much. But does that actually change the way you bowl, or are you still trying to do the same thing?
You know, we're the best in the world at bowling, so we can't really change the way that we would do it, and we don't bowl in a scoring system often enough to really know it inside and out yet. But no, I think you make sure you get your count when you can. And yeah, I think it has a big emphasis on the power that you can have. I think that's what USA do better than we do at the moment. They strike more, and as you can see, they've got more points.
Right now, Jesper's built about a 30, oh Jesus, nearly a 40-pin lead right now. He's putting together a really nice show here.
Yeah, but also what happens, Dom, if you don't start striking like in Stu's game, I mean, just a couple taps here and there, all of a sudden, you know, opposing person can make up big ground quickly with strikes, because this format is all about with 30 pins instantly for a strike, as opposed to traditional bowling. You need to throw 3 shots to get 30 pins in a frame. You really can make up ground quite fast. So, I mean, in this kind of situation, are you still looking at the scoreboard thinking it's not done yet?
It's definitely not done. I think that's what, you know, when you get ahead in traditional scoring, you can kind of spare your way home. You can't do that in this.
Go back to day one. You were far behind Chris Barnes, and one of the opening matches made a ball change, struck out, I think, the last 6 frames, and just you overpowered him at the end.
Yeah, that was it's amazing. Did you get down early? For me, I still feel like even that last match I had against Chris just now, you kind of you don't hit the desperation button, but obviously you figure out what you're going to do is not going to strike enough, so you have to make that move to find out how you're going to strike more far and away.
This must make you feel really good right now, Dom. I mean, obviously, Jesper, you're not going to win this Weber Cup without Svensson firing at all cylinders. Does he look good to you right now?
He looks brilliant. You know, maybe me getting away from him kind of helps.
Don't say a word to him. You're going to give him the silent treatment from now on. That's the first emotion he's shown this match.
But with the scoring format also, strikes being so important, getting that ball, the matchup, your angle into the pocket, so important. You can't afford for the lefty, the ring 7 or the ring 10 for a right-hander. As you know, Jacob's had 2 of those now, and those really, you're losing 10 pins, you know, a frame like that.
That's kind of what I was saying before about having the 2 lefties out there together. They're going to make transition for each other, and it was going to be who had actually the better ball reaction, who could deal with that transition more, because normally they don't have that when they bowl a right-hander.
And interesting how you also tactically thought about Simonson. You're always putting Jesper at him. You left him on the right-hand side on the own, and you actually want to get another right-hander at him to make him maybe think more, move around a little bit more in the lane than what he's had to.
Yeah, that was exactly right. That came from Stu. Stu wanted a little bit of that too, so we knew that Barnes and Simon had to play those first 2 matches, and we had an idea which order they would go in. And my look on the fresh in practice was okay. My game was pretty poor, I have to say. Hopefully I can bowl a bit better than that later in the session. But Stu stepped up and bowled a great game.
3 young guys, but clearly so much trust between these Team USA members, and I think that's been one of the keys to their success so far this year.
I mean, Jesper really just to lock up the point here for Europe, Dom. I mean, after your start this morning, you must have been quite worried that the tone had been set, going down 5 points. I mean, now you're feeling more relaxed. Are you guys going to relax, or is it still, you know, every point you have to fight? You have to fight for at the moment. But I mean, are you more relaxed now or not really?
Definitely not. No, every point is huge. We've won plenty of Weber Cups and we've lost plenty of Weber Cups. We know what we need to do. And it's not get ahead of ourselves at all. It's taking that 1 point at a time. And I hate cliches, you know, I don't watch sport for cliches, but when you get in this environment yourself and you actually have to go out there and perform, unfortunately, everybody says the same thing for that reason. And we just really need to knuckle down and take care of every point that we can.
Well, this match pretty much locked up. So 18 pins. I mean, he doesn't really even need to mark in the last 2 frames, does he?
And that's assuming that Jacob strikes in, but is 9th and 10th frame. Chris, I mean, I spoke to Chris too. He thought he originally didn't actually want to play Jacob much today. He felt that he's much better in the longer patterns. But after watching him practice, he ended up changing his order a little bit and putting him in. And it looks like that hasn't quite gone his way. So maybe the tide's changing for you, Dom.
Let's hope so. I mean, that's the one thing about any Weber Cup, especially there's only 4 of us. There's no hiding. You can't go and hide a player. You can't find a way to have a bowler not bowl on certain patterns. We have to play on everything. Kind of yesterday we wanted Osku to try and feel a bit more comfortable in that longer pattern, and he's only bowling once on this one, but that point he's playing is huge. Like, every point you bowl for is huge right now.
Don't know if Butturff's gonna have to think about his approach on this pattern, but Chris Barnes coming over now to give him a little talking to. And this Weber Cup is about to tighten up.
I mean, this will do the world of good for Jesper, surely, Dom. I mean, he was getting battered by Simonson, and then we changed him up, and he still didn't win a point. How good is he going to feel after this point?
I think it's doing the world of good for his confidence in general, for a tour life as well, because you know, Jacob's been the guy. He's been the lefty, the guy that Jesper was a couple of years ago, and that's been Jacob. So this scalp now for Jesper is going to inspire all the confidence in the world towards him.
Yeah, it's a pretty good achievement. And I'll tell you what, perfect timing too. This is just what Team Europe needed. Just what the doctor ordered on the bowling lane.
Well, thanks very much for having me in there, guys. I'm going to come back up, and every time I'm not bowling, just try and get a point, because apparently this is my lucky spot.
Don't move.
I'm not sure if Barney will allow that to happen, if that's going to be the case. But Dom, it's been a pleasure having you here, and just good luck for the rest of the Weber Cup. And you know, from our point of view and all the fans at home, we're loving the bowling. It's been so close. You know, I'm sorry you hit the 300 against you, but we just wanted to go to the wire, man. And all the best, and good luck to the boys out there. And hopefully we get you a W later this afternoon.
Absolutely. This is good for the game right now. Team Europe mounting a little bit of a comeback. And I believe Jesper Svensson can give himself a pat on the back. If not, the rest of his teammates will. He did what he had to.
Yeah, he took a ball change, I think, just to have a look and see.
Maybe I need to let it go.
To see what that was like. There haven't been very many games where Europe have been able to enjoy a 10th frame and relax. So that's great for Jesper Svensson. It's great for the Weber Cup. Great for Team Europe. 11-8 to USA.
Yes, the gap has narrowed. Team Europe making their ship, moving out, and trying to come transatlantic. Can they close further? It's 11-8 right now. Weber Cup will continue after the break.
Welcome back to Weber Cup 20 from Las Vegas, where Jesper Svensson has just claimed another point for Team Europe, winning his first singles match at this year's tournament and narrowing the scores to 11-8. The Swedish left-hander is now talking to Hannah Wilkes.
I sense a little bit of relief from you when you were high-fiving everyone and getting the congratulations after that match. You needed that win, didn't you?
Yeah, I did, definitely. Feels good to finally be back and helping the team in a singles match. And you know, we're up in this session, and our plan going into today was to win this session, and we're up, so the plan is just keeping it that way.
Like you mentioned, the plan is to win a session, something you haven't done so far this Weber Cup. How important is it for you to come out, get the win today, and take this into the fourth day, still very much in the battle? Because 18's still a few points away, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, there's still a lot of bowling to go, so I mean, they need to catch a couple more good runs to get away with this one. And we have no plans of giving up, and now I feel like we're in good shape again, and just hope we can keep this run going for a little bit.
We talk about momentum so much, but it is so important. Just to give us a word, if you can, on Jacob Butturff, because it's not often that you play a left-hander in the Weber Cup. So see two left-handers battle it out on the lanes, quite different, isn't it? Something new for you to have to face up to.
Yeah, it's a little bit more transition than we're used to see, and yesterday he really outbowled me, and he was ahead of me in the transition, and today I was on the better side of it. So it's really close games all the time, but I'm just happy that I could play it off this time.
Coming up next, the US captain Chris Barnes and Stuart Williams face off once again in singles action. With the American winning their opening exchange on day one, can Europe's Weber Cup stalwart even the score and add some much-needed blue to the board? It's time to find out. Commentary for this match comes from Tim Mack, Guy Kaminsky and Jesse May.
He's not going with the ball that I thought he was going to go with, so this will have to be, I want to see what he's going to do this first shot. I'm very interested to see how he's going to play the lane in reference to where Chris is also on the lane.
Pivotal match for the Weber Cup. Beef Stew leading off.
Yeah, that ball went a little bit long. It didn't grab the lane. I think he may need to go to the stronger ball. But Guy, I don't think he wants to get trapped also like Dominic did, where because we've seen that this lane surface can be very, very, can hook early. He doesn't want to get trapped into using such a strong ball that it sees the lane too early and then gets him offline.
I mean, we've seen a couple times, guys, already in this Weber Cup when you felt they waited maybe 2 frames too long to make that ball change. The timing is so critical. Is it now? Is it already now?
Those are the guys that actually have the most success in this event, and the teams that have the most success, the ones that aren't afraid to make the changes and make them the quickest. You don't have a lot of time out there.
The very important thing on a 40-foot pattern that's just been freshly oiled is that you've got to control the amount of hook down lane.
Did that react the way he wanted it to?
Well, Also, I want you to remember, Jesse, we've just re-oiled the lane. We've just run the machine again. And each time the lane goes down the machine, everything is changing. The environment is changing. And these players don't have a lot of time and a lot of shots to make, to get committed to a decision. So they've got to figure out a game plan in a hurry and make that decision very quickly. Oh, boy.
Chris's spare shooting has been nothing short of disastrous.
It's so uncharacteristic of him. I can't even explain it.
I mean, he whiffed one on day one. He just whiffed one wide.
He whiffed it twice. It was a 7-pin. He missed it in the gutter and he missed it to the right. And it was very interesting listening to you guys talk to him. And he said, in a normal course of events, in a normal tournament, you just go to a practice pair and just throw a couple because you need a couple of confidence. But here, there's just you don't get to practice your spare shooting.
He's very far left there.
That's a great shot from Stu. Great answer from Stuart Williams. Compounding the problem for Barnes' early open. Comes back and lets him know what's going on, what's happening. But yeah, Guy, to elaborate more on your point, in this scoring environment, this new scoring system, strikes mean so much. So sometimes the players lose lack of focus and lack of concentration and don't put enough time into the spares because there isn't the amount of time to do that. You're only limited with a couple of shots.
USA captain trying to get back on track.
Oh, chips the 4. That's a good break. Chips the 4-pin. And in this, as you can see, he's only down 10 pins, so that first open doesn't hurt him that much. So here comes the ball. You'll see the 2-pin go to the wall and just tickle the 4-pin. Watch the 2-pin goes boom.
I think Chris probably got around that one because it's quite a bit more angle compared to the first frame.
I think obviously he saw the first frame was not a very good shot, didn't get up the hill, and he changed his hand position and made it hook. That's got to hook a mile.
What happened there? That looked like it hopped.
Yeah, that was wide right there. That was Stewie was.
I mean, he got a great break to get 9 now because the count also
It looked like a leapfrog.
Yeah, it hops right there down the lane. You know, we're in a unique environment. You were in a unique environment here in the one-lane center, and the players have said when they get the ball a little bit too far right on any of them.
Now.
As he said, he's nervous to shoot the spare. That'll lighten the mood a little bit there, Stewie. Missed it the first time. Hopefully he doesn't miss it the second time. But the players have noted, Guy, that if they miss too far right on any of the patterns down lane, there's not a lot of recovery for any of the bowling balls.
especially on the fresh lane, absolutely. Launch angle, absolutely imperative on the fresh.
That got it. Now, Stu Williams has led at every stage today in both his matches. Here, though, if Chris Barnes hits a strike, he'll
takes a 1-pin lead. Yeah, he takes a 1-pin lead. So he'll be very happy, as Guy said. Pin count in the scoring system is very important, and to get 9 out of that shot that was poorly executed from Stewart is actually a very good break for Team Europe.
Well, we saw his first frame just not quite make it up the hill. Second one slightly high. Can he get it in between those two?
Okay. We've seen this a couple times today, Jesse, and we'll allude to the environment. The players, because so much is riding on each shot, if one little distraction gets them, they've really got to hunker down and focus and have tunnel vision. That's the most important thing on the Weber Cup lane. You have to have tunnel vision.
Yeah, and look, stepping off the shot is the right thing to do because you can't afford to lose even one.
That's correct.
And for the people watching at home, you have to stop and reset completely. We saw Jesper yesterday just stop and try to go back, and he threw it bad. You need to start your whole routine again.
And there you go. That's what happens. That's the experience of Chris Barnes showing right there as he wasn't prepared to throw the shot, steps off, retools, resets, and takes the lead early in this match.
Right, and Stu Williams now knows he is in a dogfight here. This is going to be a tussle, and he's going to have to show something here if he wants to keep Team Europe on the comeback trail.
I can tell you, Chris Barnes wants this one really bad. He knows that Stuart Williams has been their best player, and he wants to send a message to the European squad that says, I'm Captain America, and I'm taking him down.
Has he lost his line?
Well, That's a little bit of a bad break because that's actually that's a pretty good shot from Stewart there. And it just dives high in the head pin. You can see that's obviously much further left, and it just drives through the head pin and leaves the dreaded 4-9 split. He's going to have to get the ball to the left of that 4 pin and slide that 4 into the 9. It's a very difficult split, but you can make it.
Really tough.
But Timmy, I mean, you spoke about it. You said he wasn't going to do what he's done. I mean, this is what Dom did. Got so far left so early.
Oh!
Yeah, what happens there?
Well, the players have had some problems sliding a little bit further deep in the lane. Here's the problem I have with that now.
He nearly got wiped out of the Weber Cup there.
Well, you see him
his
slide.
left foot gets stuck there.
Lucky he's got good balance. He's like Twinkle Toes.
Yeah, Stewie for a big man, and
he's light on his feet.
For a big man, he's very light on his feet, and you know what? He's got great leg strength, and that ball's not going to work. He just said to Dom that ball's not going to work, so it definitely is a ball change.
Yeah, I was really surprised. I mean, you said he was going to play much more to the right, much straighter, and obviously in the practice he must have felt that it didn't look good. Yeah,
he obviously made a determination and a commitment to do what he's doing, but maybe a different ball will see the lane a little sooner and blend the lane out a little bit more for him. Because Chris isn't going away.
Yeah, and by the way, guys, I think John Weber, the official scorer, has come out and said that second shot of Stu Williams was a foul, so it's 8-0 on the score. Can you explain that?
Yeah, well, listen, if you go over the foul line at any time, and you go over the line, it's 0 for the frame. So John is standing there, and he obviously saw that it was a foul and decided that the second frame is 0 pins. Got to stay behind the little black line, no matter what.
12-pin lead for the USA, but really there's not much in it considering what's at stake
Let's take a look here. Here's a good replay of it. Let's see if he fouls. We'll see if he doesn't. He's behind it. There, right there. Yep. You saw his left foot go behind it, and that's a foul, too. And then obviously on the gutter cap, you cannot go over the foul line. So clearly that John Weber making the right call. Here's the thing, Jesse. It's in your mind now.
Yeah.
It's in your mind that the fact that you just stuck at the line.
Did I strike?
Little friendly banter.
It felt like a strike.
And maybe they're just trying to stay a little bit loose out there. Stewie's trying to stay a little loose, but the key is he going to be thinking about sticking at the foul line when he's got to go back to his routine and execute a shot? And he's going to make a ball change here as well.
Is this the one you expected from the start? You were talking about the power ball.
No, the ball that I'm seeing now is the ball that he used in his previous singles match after the oil has already gotten down the lane. So he's going to have to throw this really good because this ball is a clean IQ that gets through the front and then transitions hard off the back of the paddle.
You know, it's so funny that a game ago, he looked like he couldn't miss the pocket. And we talk about confidence. He had that one shot that missed to the right. And all of a sudden, you know, in his mind now, he's thinking, I don't want to miss to the right again. And he cuts that one short. Straight through the
flips on a dime. Like you say, an hour ago, he looked like the strongest bowler in the world. Now he's fallen over the foul line. It looks like he's throwing UFOs, not bowling balls.
Okay, and he makes a spare. That's good. Actually, 7 spare, get out of that frame. The thing of it is, you got to hope now that he's going to need a little help from Chris. And based on Chris's last 3 shots, 2 strikes and a solid 9, I don't anticipate that to happen. He's certainly going to need some help and so, to get back. And also, he's going to have to make some better quality shots. His shot making hasn't been great, as you said, Guy.
Yeah, Chris has just been unstoppable force.
Oh boy.
Open the door.
And all of a sudden, just like that, it's a couple pin match.
Yeah.
Unless Chris can bounce this out. You see the ball. That's not a bad shot. This just shows you how hard the scimitar pattern is. There's very, very, very small margin for error on the fresh lane.
I think we saw Jacob Butturff with this exact split earlier.
Let's see what happens.
Yeah, he didn't like it.
And Dom said they're always going for the 10th pin side because this is where the camera is. They have the most chance of it bouncing.
And it doesn't get out. And all of a sudden, we've got a 3-pin match here. Whoever makes the necessary changes and can make some quality shots down the stretch is going to take this match.
Welcome back to the Weber Cup from the Mandalay Bay, Las Vegas, where Chris Barnes currently holds a narrow lead over Europe's Stuart Williams in their singles match. With the US team 11-8 ahead in the race to 18, Europe knows the importance of every point at this stage of the tournament. Jessie May picks up the action.
How do you rate Stu Williams in these kind of situations? I mean, it feels like a maelstrom down there. It's just total chaos. Is he good at finding his way through in these kind of spots?
Stuart Williams has a very high bowling IQ. Let's see if he goes to the toolbox and picks the right tool.
He changed balls.
Damn it!
Not happy with that. Is it the shot, or was he not happy with the ball change?
I think it's a combination of both. When you feel like you're trapped in a box, and like he does right now, you know, if he feels like if he misses a little right, the ball goes right. If he misses a left, the ball goes left. He's like, it's a very uncomfortable, unnerving feeling as a bowler to have that feel. And as Guy said a game ago, he was a world beater. That's gonna hook. Whoa.
Oh, man. Had to get those down.
Now to say, that wasn't actually an easy spare to make when you feel like you've got to hang to the right. It's so easy to cut that short and then miss it left.
Listen, this is, as you said earlier, Guy, this is exactly what Europe wanted. They wanted a slugfest. They wanted a grinded-out slugfest, and that's what this match has turned into. Who is going to make the proper changes and the proper shots coming down the stretch to steal this point?
So
I mean, Chris is also not comfortable by any stretch of the imagination.
That looked like it landed well.
Chris has been the better bowler, though. Through 6 frames, he has hit the pocket 4 shots. Stuart really has only hit the pocket 1 shot out of the 6. So if you're handicapping it, definitely advantage USA and Chris Barnes. And he's also the one out of all the bowlers that are bowling, he is the best at controlling the back of the lane with the break point because he has less change of direction usually on his ball. And that's exactly what Guy alluded to earlier. On the fresh lane, you have to control the back part of the lane.
Well, I think he's got to go straighter. Somehow I think it just needs to be straighter. He's just giving it too much work for the ball to do down lane.
Well, that's straighter for sure.
No.
Well, that would have been completely undeserved.
Teased.
Come on.
Stu still has a great sense of humor, telling that it'll be completely undeserved that it struck.
Yeah.
They'll need to close this one out. It's still open, obviously. Team USA with the lead, but we've seen some very big changes happen in the last 3 frames in this Weber Cup.
But I still like the thinking. You talk about his IQ, his bowling IQ, is that was the right move to make. I think to me he didn't execute, which was fine, but the thinking was good.
One good one here.
Chris telling himself one good one here. He knows a strike here really puts him in the driver's seat in this match.
Yeah, I mean, Stu Williams has changed balls twice. Chris Barnes has used that ball all day.
Yeah, barring any crazy things coming down the stretch here, you know, USA are a strike here takes a commanding lead in the match. It's an almost insurmountable lead for the European. Good one.
Not a good one, a great one. Tiger Chris Barnes, USA captain, leading totally from the front. And is he going to take the European talisman right out of it?
Well, it's certainly looking a daunting task now for Stuart and the European contingent with that double there.
I mean,
huge
you know,
double.
The big danger was, obviously, it felt like Team Europe was taking the crowd out of it, Team USA crowd, but Barnes has brought the crowd right back into it.
You can't do that. Come on, that's the 2nd time you've done it when I've been up.
Uh-oh.
Let's just listen in here, guys. Stu is interacting with some of the American fans who I think might be heckling him, which obviously can happen, but I think Stu more upset about the timing of it. That when he's on the lane, he wants some silence.
I mean, it's a tough balance, isn't it? The fans want to root, but obviously you got to respect their time to execute. And really, you know, this being the first. Oh, he hit it there. That was all emotion. But obviously, Tim, you know, this being the first time this kind of format has come to the U.S., USA bowling fans just aren't really used to what this means.
Well, listen, I think also you got to look at the Europeans are used to being the favorites, crowd favorites, and it's a new environment. All of a sudden, there's more USA fans than European fans for the first time in the history of the Cup.
Right, you are.
So. It's a balance, but as Guy said, you know, there's a time and place for that, and you know, as a player, Stewart gathered himself, and tactically, let's talk about what he just made. He just made a great shot.
It's one of the biggest shots he's made in the Weber Cup this year. Actually, he needed to get that back.
Well, if they're going to have a chance to win this game, he's in a must-strike situation, and he's going to need help from Chris Barnes.
Okay.
Chris is going to have an open frame somewhere here in the next 3 frames, and it's going to have to be a big open with count. So
I see. Yeah.
Here's Chris Barnes' wife there, Linda Barnes.
Who, by the way, could bowl with any of these eight people. What a bowler she has been for over her career. Wow.
Yeah, and just, you know, we were talking about ball changes earlier. Chris doesn't change balls that often because he's an old school player. He uses finesse and a couple tricks that he's got. Because, you know, when he started out, we didn't have as many bowling balls to me as we have now. The young kids now, instead of making the changes within their hand, they just change balls.
Yeah, it sometimes can become an epidemic as well. That's going to do it. Really, that's really putting.
Close the door.
I mean, unless Chris goes open the next 2 frames, that certainly puts him in the driver's seat to get the job done.
You know, it's a different star for Team USA every day, but right now, today, it looks like Chris Barnes just saying, we ain't gonna lose this, boys.
Listen, other than the one errant shot in the 5th frame and the spare, Chris has been actually pretty good this game. So
A must strike here for Stewie to force Barnes to mark.
And this is going to put Team USA back, Team Europe back where they started, 4 matches behind in the Weber Cup.
Yeah, which is nothing to panic about, right? They haven't bowled well in the fresh lane both games. They're 2-2 in the session, and really their goal is to win the session. Oh, he almost makes us. They just want to win the session, so no need to press the panic button.
Circus.
Let's see what happens the next matchup.
The only problem is, Timmy, with the fresh lane, they haven't quite got an answer for the fresh. Maybe it might be an idea to get the Jesper out in the fresh.
Either Jesper or maybe Osku with the urethane ball.
Ah, that's a good idea, yeah.
You know, because obviously Dominic and Stewart haven't been able to find the answer. And this guy has.
Oh, he really has. I mean, he said, you know, that you may call the scimitar your pattern, but I'm owning it right now, boys.
Yeah, so again, that's why Barnes is bowling, because he's able to control the back part of the lane better than any of the 8 bowlers in the field. He's got so many tricks in his bag. He's got so much experience, and he knows you got to keep those angles close, and you know, keep the ball close to the pocket. Stewie might be on his 5th ball this game, 4th or 5th ball this game.
We are seeing some really low scoring here on this pattern, guys. This looks difficult conditions down there.
Still didn't get there.
It's a tough spot to be in. Not only is he uncomfortable with what's going on the lane, he's uncomfortable in what choice he wants to make. And you know, this pattern can do that to you.
Whoa!
Bounces it out again, but unfortunately doesn't make the split. But it doesn't matter. Stewie was using that shot as maybe a gauge to look what he could look forward to, you know, coming down the stretch in upcoming matches.
Yeah, we still got a few matches to come here, and as you said, Tim and Guy, Europe still has a chance to win, not only win this session, but actually close the gap seriously.
Yeah, it's only 2-2, but the gap out to 4 points again. Captain America, Chris Barnes, delivering for Team USA.
He'll go in the crowd there. He'll go 4 down. They love him. They love the fact that he's got this team together. They love the fact that he's captaining it from the front. They love the fact that Team USA is in pole position.
Chris, it was strange watching that match, I felt. You had a little blip early on, got yourself back all okay, and then for Stu, it just kind of fell apart a little bit.
Well, you know, the lanes were much different than when he bowled on them the first time, and his bar action wasn't as good, and he was a little bit uncomfortable, and got a couple of balls go away, and you know, and I was able to get away with the mistakes that I made, and then, you know, I had very similar ball action the first time. When I made good shots, I did the right thing.
12-8 then, you're back to a 4-point lead in this year's Weber Cup. It's a race to 18, 6 points away now, 3 more up for grabs this session. How confident do you feel your team can make it 15 by the end of the day?
Oh, we're a long ways away, but we just want to win each session. And so we're tied up for the sessions, how we're looking at it. We got 3 more to go. We'd like to win 2 out of these next 3 and take that on to tomorrow.
A captain's performance from Chris Barnes, defeating Stuart Williams by a 70-pin margin, re-establishes America's 4-point lead at this year's Weber Cup and edges the hosts even closer to retaining the famous trophy. Can Troop and Simonson continue the momentum, or will the experience of Barrett and Palermo help Europe narrow the gap? We'll find out next time when the Weber Cup continues from the Mandalay Bay in Las Vegas.